My wife walked away from her son. Now his fiance wants to meet us.
Walk back.
By the way, trigger warning, there are mentions of domestic violence. So if you know yourself, please exit if that's gonna get to you. So I, 32 male, met my wife Aisha, 38 female, 9 years ago on the beach in a country where I got a co-op job at a software development company. I won't lie, I was an overconfident kid who approached her even though she was clearly married.
Whoa.
And they're with friends in a country where things could have gone really wrong.
Where is this going?
Is that overconfidence or is that something else? Honestly, she was just so beautiful and had an amazing body, and maybe I was wrong, but I did go for her. By the way, this comes from Eclectic Glow, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So I only found out months after things developed between us that the only reason that she let them was to use me to escape from her husband. And it made sense because she only let things get physical after she learned I would move back home to Canada once my co-op ended. She came to Canada with me under the pretense of visiting her aunt and pursuing the process of seeking asylum due to domestic violence, and she stayed with me because she felt safe. Long story short, we've been married for a while now, and we've been talking about kids, and she wants them, I want them, and my parents want them. We were finally about to start trying, except a situation with her son, Zafar, 20 male, from her first marriage has come up. She's not seen Zafar in person. She left and hasn't talked to him in about 5 years. Anyway, he's getting married in August, and even though he hasn't reached out to Aisha at all, his fiancée, a girl named Alina, has and wants to meet her when she visits family in Canada at the end of the month. The idea of meeting Alina has made my wife spiral. She absolutely refuses to even consider the idea of meeting with this girl. She will not go anywhere except work. She won't let me touch her, and she's barely talking. Wow. Yesterday, I found Aisha literally holding a framed photo of Zafar in bed and just crying. I know she has regrets, and I know she hates the way that she left his father, but she would have been unalived had she stayed with him. I told her again yesterday that it wouldn't hurt to at least meet the girl, and I'd go with her if she needed. And she just yelled at me and said I was being an a-hole about it, and that part of her life is over and she just needs to accept it. There are some comments on this so far. OP on the culture that he and his wife are from. I am Egyptian, so while it may not directly be my culture, it's very close. Same people, same religion, different desert. I understand the nuances well enough. OP on why his wife stopped contacting her son. I don't know why my wife's son didn't reach out, but I suspect that he thinks she hates him for trying to end things. Pretty much about 5 years ago, her son Zafar had a huge argument with his father about her, and it led to a fight. Zafar kept trying to phone my wife after that, but she was on a flight at the time and couldn't answer. He took a lot of pills after that and would have passed away had his father not found him right away. Wow. When my wife phoned back, his father answered in the hospital and blamed her and said that the next time he wouldn't save him if my wife kept in contact with him. Wow. My wife is still terrified of her ex-husband, so she did stop trying to contact her son. I wouldn't be surprised if her ex said something similar to their son to get him to stop contacting her. But this is his son's fiance, so it's a loophole. Maybe her son is using it. I don't know. I hope so. But we do have an update.
I feel like I need much more information.
Yeah, I feel like that was a small story.
I mean, like right now, all we know is that her son is kind of dealing with a lot, and OP is kind of encouraging her to get back into contact with him.
Yeah, I don't know if OP is necessarily like rooting for it. He seems to just be like an observer.
Yeah.
Sort of either way, I guess. This is a complicated situation.
It's a complicated situation.
Wow. But we do have an update. So my update is a mixed bag, I guess. I didn't want to update, but the truth is I don't have anyone to talk to and just thought this might help. The first is that I let the matter lie at first. I figured that maybe we'd get back to it around the time that my wife's future daughter-in-law, Alina, had actually come to Canada. I mean, there's no point in stressing my wife about it right now. And that did help. So I guess you're right. OP does think that his wife should meet Alina.
Reach back.
A week ago, we found out that my wife, Aisha, is pregnant, and we are both over the moon about it. Oh my gosh. Congratulations.
A lot going on in your life right now.
So much happening. I mean, we wanted to start trying, but didn't know it already happened. Something I didn't mention in my last post is that my wife feels guilt over me. There is an age gap between us, and we got together when I was barely an adult. To me, I don't see anything wrong with it because I initiated things, no matter how dangerous that could have turned out for me. I pursued her. To her, though, she feels often that she used me and used the attraction I had to her to escape, and it was wrong of us to take things further. But I don't feel that way, and honestly, I think she has no reason to feel guilty. That is a common thing, though, with people who are in relationships, when they get out of it, they'll see things that are similar to their partner and they get nervous that like that's what they are doing too. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But obviously things are complicated. I'm sure that's not the case, OP.
No, obviously it's always good to be like aware and stuff of how you're acting and stuff, but
Right. Just know that like you don't need to feel as bad about it as your does.
exactly.
When we found out she was pregnant, she told me that for the first time she feels like this was meant to be. It actually made me forget about Alina, and 4 days ago when Aisha and I came home from work, it turns out that she came to visit with her aunt and my mother let them in. I was a bit worried that Aisha was going to panic or have a breakdown, but she was actually really calm and composed. And when Alina called her Ummi, or Arabic for mother, she got such a big smile on her face. I know it was genuine too because I don't think she expected that kind of respect. It turns out that Zafar sent Alina to give my wife an invite to their wedding, and the only reason he didn't come himself is because he was very busy with work. But he's planning on coming with her again in August to do wedding shopping. Apparently, Zafar is so busy because he's taking over the family business, because his father had a stroke and all of his other half-siblings are 10 and under, so it's on him. Wow. When Alina's aunt left to take her kids somewhere, she had a conversation with my wife about her ex-husband. It turns out that Zafar really is not treating him well at all, no matter how much his stepmother or aunts or even his half-siblings argue with him. According to Alina, he's the calmest and nicest and sweetest person unless the topic turns to his father, and nobody can convince him to treat him better. That seems pretty fair.
Yeah.
Like, she told my wife that he has so much hate for him that he once said that the only reason he hates that the stroke happened is that now he can't unalive him.
Wow. But like I'm sure he went through a lot being like alone with his father.
Definitely, yeah,
Like very complicated relationship.
totally understandable. He even threatened once to ban his half-siblings from attending his wedding and the reception because his stepmother tried to get him to do better by his father. Wow. Okay. His stepmother tried to get him to do better. So I guess he remarried.
Like try to improve the relationship between him and his father, I think.
Right. I'm just trying to think who the stepmother is.
We don't know. I guess he must have remarried.
My wife and Alina tell her the things that her ex-husband did to Zafar, even though she didn't want to, and I won't say them because I just can't imagine somebody doing that stuff to their own child.
Ugh.
Alina asked if my wife could talk to Zafar because she doesn't want him so filled with hate, even if his father does deserve it for torturing him for his entire life. My wife told Alina that she doesn't feel like she can talk to her son on the phone after so long, and when he comes, he'll stay with us and she will talk to him about it then, and that she'll convince him for her. Alina left with her aunt soon after, and it's weird because even though my wife told Alina that, when we were alone at night, she told me that she's happy that Zafar is doing that and that his father deserves it. She cried a lot that night and told me that she'd be forgiving if it was just her that was hurt by her ex-husband, but that she can't stand that her son had to suffer so much under him and hopes that her ex-husband keeps reaping what he sowed.
Well, that's just an incredibly hard place for kind of Alina. I get what she was doing, but a really hard place for Alina to put OP's wife in, of saying like, I need you to talk to your son to convince him to kind of forgive this man who has been awful to both you and him.
I don't understand why she wants him to forgive him.
I think probably what she's meaning is like he's very angry. It's like affects him a lot and stuff. But the answer is not for his mom to convince him to, forgive his dad. The answer is for him to go to therapy so that he can kind of release that anger and aggression out of his life rather than have a relationship with his father.
Yeah, I absolutely do not think that like he needs to be kinder or treat his father better to solve this.
No. Cut off your father, honestly.
Yeah, like I do agree with that like having that hate and anger is like, not good for you.
Not healthy.
Even though it's like understandable, but it's still good to like try to cope with it in some healthier way. But I really don't think trying to put any effort into that relationship is the answer at all. I admitted that seemed wrong to say, but she told me that I'd understand when our son is born. Whatever. And now I don't know why she's so certain it'll be a boy, but hey. By the way, I am so certain that you can always find full episodes with more stories just like this one on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and just search OK Storytime.
I've never been more certain of anything.
There is a little bit more of the story, but do we have any final thoughts before we roll into it?
I think OP, you just kind of have to be there as support. Because, this is terrifying. Even knowing that the father is in any way around in any shape or form, that must be incredibly scary for your wife. So just like giving her support and making sure that she knows that she's safe, and like maybe getting her into therapy if she's not already, and kind of just being there as she restarts this bond with her and her son.
Yeah, I agree. That's really all you can do. But there is a little bit more. So Alina's flight home is today, and my wife is the one dropping her off. In fact, they were inseparable for the last few days. My wife spent hours talking with her and just learning about her studies, and about her relationship with Zafar. She loves that girl so much already, except every time before she went to meet her, she had a mini panic attack almost. I asked about it, but she said that it's like she has a daughter and it's a good dream, and she's worried that she's going to wake up. She even said maybe it would have been better if she had been allowed to move on because she's so afraid of getting hurt again. And there are some comments. I just realized this. The quote that says, he took a lot of pills after that and would have passed away had his father not found him right away. This info was from the dad, right? Why do we all believe the harmful dad that told her, I'm answering from the hospital because our son tried to commit, etc., etc.? Do you know what I mean? Had his father not found him right away? Oh, what a hero. That's actually a good point, honestly.
Scary point.
He totally could be lying. Someone replies, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there was no self-harm attempt and it was just a lie made up by the father to cause maximum emotional damage to his wife. Yeah, there's so many different ways that he could have lied about it. Like, it could have just not happened at all.
He could have just been, I don't know, had like an accident, like a car accident or something.
Or he literally wasn't even in the hospital. Maybe even employed to get her to come crawling back. And that's the end of it.
Yeah.
That's like such a terrible position to be in.
So difficult. She got herself out of that situation and that,
But that's the end of that story.